In the early 2000s, a small German company called Wirecard set out to change how payments worked online. By 2018, it had become a national star, worth over 24 billion euros, and part of Germany's top stock index, the DAX. Politicians cheered it, investors poured in billions, and then, overnight, it all collapsed. 1.9 billion euros in cash was missing.
Wirtschaftsprüfer können 1,9 Milliarden Euro, die auf Treuhandkonten bei Banken in Asien liegen sollen, nicht mehr auffinden.
2 Banken auf den Philippinen, bei denen die 1,9 Milliarden Euro liegen sollen, teilten heute mit, keinerlei Geschäftsbeziehungen mit dem Finanzdienstleister zu führen. Die Belege seien gefälscht.
The CEO was arrested, and one key manager disappeared like a ghost. Today, we'll tell the wild story of Wirecard, how it fooled a nation, and what it left behind. Wirecard was born in 1999 in the early days of the internet. At first, it made money by helping online gambling and adult websites process payments, stuff many banks didn't want to touch. But in 2002, a man named Markus Braun took control. He had a big vision: turn Wirecard into a global payment giant. For years, the company bought other businesses, grew fast, and told investors it was making huge profits. By 2018, Wirecard's stock had doubled. Big names like Japan's SoftBank invested nearly $1 billion. Wirecard was now a symbol of German tech success. But under the surface, things weren't what they seemed. In 2019, the Financial Times published shocking reports. Wirecard's profits in Asia looked strange, like money that wasn't really there. Whistleblowers said the company was faking deals and changing dates on contracts to make its earnings look bigger. But instead of investigating Wirecard, Germany's financial watchdog defended it. They even went after short sellers who were betting the stock would crash. And Wirecard's own auditors, one of the biggest firms in the world, kept signing off on the company's books. Year after year, it looked fine on paper. But behind the scenes, the truth was starting to leak out. By June 2020, Wirecard's story started falling apart. Auditors refused to sign off on Wirecard's latest numbers. They couldn't find 1.9 billion euros that was supposedly sitting in 2 Philippine bank accounts. The following week is something for the history books. On Monday, auditors raised the alarm. On Friday, Markus Braun resigned as CEO. And shortly later, Wirecard filed for bankruptcy. One of Germany's proudest companies had just pulled off one of Europe's biggest financial scams. Markus Braun was arrested for fraud, but soon released on bail. But the real mystery was Wirecard's second-in-command, Marsalek. He disappeared the day he was fired. A global manhunt began. Interpol issued a red notice. Rumors swirled. Was he hiding in Russia? Belarus? No one knew for sure. What we do know now, Marsalek was deeply involved in the scam and later linked to Russian intelligence. To this day, he remains a fugitive.
But all those vows we made were never to be.
Before we continue and explain how this story turned from a financial scam to a Russian spy story and the year-long manhunt of Marsalek, a quick break to thank our sponsor. If you're looking for real returns without relying on overhyped stocks with manipulated papers, meet The Alchemist. It's a plug-and-play trading robot for MetaTrader 4, scanning currency pairs for high-probability setups and executing trades 100% on autopilot. No tokens, no guesswork. Just smart, algorithmic trading with 24/7 support. Click the link in the description and use code WIRE at checkout for 10% off. Now let's get back to this wild story. The deeper investigators looked, the darker the story became. After the collapse, investigators focused on one big question. Where did Jan Marsalek go? He vanished the day he was fired, leaving behind no phone, no laptop, no trail. Within days, Interpol issued a red notice, but Marsalek had already crossed into Belarus using a private jet. He was traveling with a fake passport and had help. Reports suggest he used contacts in Russia's intelligence world to disappear. And that's when things got really weird. Marsalek wasn't just on the run. He was deeply connected to shadowy groups. He had met with members of the Russian GRU, the same agency blamed for election hacks and poisonings in Europe. Leaked messages showed he had plans to set up propaganda networks, collect intelligence from NATO countries, and even spoke about chemical weapons research. Austrian authorities later discovered that Marsalek had built a small network of former military officers and spies. Some were involved in smuggling data across borders. Others were accused of working as double agents. To fund these secret operations, Marsalek had been moving Wirecard money around the world through shell companies, offshore accounts, and fake deals. What started as a financial fraud had turned into something else entirely. A criminal empire, part fintech scam, part spy story. And still, Jan Marsalek is out there, believed to be hiding in Russia, under protection, untouchable, for now. Wirecard's collapse wiped out thousands of jobs. Investors lost everything. Germany's financial regulators were embarrassed. Top officials resigned. The government promised new rules, but for many, it was too late. Wirecard became a symbol of what happens when no one asks hard questions. And to this day, the man at the center of it all, Jan Marsalek, is still missing. Wirecard wasn't just a financial scam. It was a story of fake profits, blind trust, and money being used for darker purposes. A company that promised to lead Europe's tech future ended up being one of its biggest frauds. And the lesson is clear. When trust is built on fake numbers and empty promises, collapse is only a matter of time. Thanks for watching, and until then, I will see you in the next one.